What is going on, everyone? And I really mean that. I really mean what exactly is going on in the United States of America as of recently, as of late. We've had so many different instances of situations that are happening. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. As a matter of fact, I hope this thing doesn't. I hope this thing just relaxes. All right. So yeah. I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to begin. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start a poll. Actually, to be honest with you guys, I'm gonna start a poll. Do we need more gun control? Whoopi, what's up? What's going on, Whoopi? What is going on? Um, did you hear about the recent situation, the recent developments that are happening out of Kentucky? We have another incident out of Kentucky that has taken place recently. You know what's crazy? I don't often watch the news. I don't watch the news at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, the news is not something that I watch. Because of the propaganda that comes with it, and because a lot of things do get lost in translation when it comes to the news. Hold on, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Right? So there are a lot of sort of underlying factors as to why I do not pay too much attention to what's going on in the news. But these days, ever since Wednesday, right? And it wasn't even the news that I first heard about this situation, right? The mass shooting that happened over there in Georgia, right, at the high school, right, and then for the situation to happen 2 days later, right, at another school, and now for this to be happening where there's an individual somewhere in Kentucky, right, that's just taking aim at people. It seems as if it's something random. I'm not even entirely sure. I haven't even seen the details. I haven't read anything about it. It's just something that just occurred to me. Not Maryland. All right, Kentucky. So on the I-95, so on the highway in Kentucky, right? So the manhunt is still underway. I don't believe they have captured or gotten in contact with the suspect as yet. I saw it earlier today. His last name is Couch. I don't quite remember what his first name was, but his last name is Couch. So the guy's evidently he's shooting at people, evidently on the highway or so. But let's find out precisely what it is that's going on. Like, this is not a news channel, right? This is about spirituality. But when it's all said and done, when you look at the current state of things, right, and the people who are kind of scattered around, that are doing these acts of violence on such a regular basis, it's happening far too frequently. So it leads me to ask the question: do we need more gun control in America? Do we need more gun control in America? Right? So before we were talking about the schools ain't safe. Now the highway's not safe. The highway wasn't safe before with all the cars and all the trucks and everything like that, right? And all the accidents that you see on the highways. But now people are actually shooting on the highways, or so it seems. But let's discover some more details as to what it is that's going on. Let's do this together, right? So I have here, I just pulled up CNN. So it's showing us London and Lexington, Kentucky, right? So London, Kentucky, from what I hear is like the I would say it's like a small town, right? Or a small city in Kentucky. But let's find out what it is that's happening. So a manhunt is underway for a suspect after 5 people were injured in a shooting on Saturday near an interstate in rural area of Laurel County, Kentucky, right? So evidently the name of the county is Laurel County, Kentucky, located south of Lexington, according to the sheriff's office. All 5 victims are in stable condition and authorities are searching for one shooter. Laurel County Sheriff's Office Public Affairs Deputy Gilbert Acciardo told CNN. So again, the shooter is still at large. And this is something that's occurring far too often, to be completely honest with you. What's happening? Why is it so easy for people to get their hands on these weapons in America? Especially unstable people, right? The active shooter situation occurred near Interstate 75, about 9 miles north of the city of London, right? Where numerous persons have been shot, said Laurel County Sheriff's Office. The London Police Department has identified 32-year-old Joseph A. Couch as a person of interest who is considered armed and dangerous. He is described as a white man, roughly 5 foot 10 inches, weighing 154 pounds, police said. London, Kentucky is located around 80 miles south of Lexington. The police department is urging people to contact the 911 call center with any information regarding the whereabouts or location of this individual. Kentucky State Police Trooper Scotty Pennington said via social media the suspect has not been caught. So the suspect has not been caught. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Maybe just get back to where I was. Yes, not been caught at this time. We are urging people to stay inside. Law enforcement will provide as much information as it becomes available, he added. The interstate was reopened on Saturday evening after it was closed for roughly 3 hours from exit 41 to exit 59, both northbound and southbound lanes, due to active shooting, according to the Mount Vernon Fire Department. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Explosives in Louisville said in a statement its officers were responding and assisting the Kentucky State Police, local authorities with a critical incident near I-75, Interstate 75. London Mayor Randall Weddy said authorities were searching for the suspect, and this is CNN again, guys, that I'm getting this stuff from. London Mayor Randall Weddy said authorities were searching for the suspect or suspects in rugged terrain, a lot of tree lines, which may hamper their efforts, according to his video posted on Facebook around 8 p.m. local time. So these guys are using the trees to hide. Well, I mean, obviously it is a rural area. But for so many incidences to be happening at such a frequent basis, like it's happening so frequently, it begs you to ask the question: do we need stricter gun laws in America? Do we need stricter gun laws? Do we need to get some of these guns up off the streets, right? And I understand behind the scenes a lot of power that these people who are financing a lot of these political campaigns, I could see, because they're financing some of these political campaigns, it's very, very difficult to outlaw or to, how could you say now, restrict the access to a lot of these weapons, right? It seems as if in America, it's just as easy to get a candy or some candy, some now and laters, as it is to get your hands on some of these weapons. And people are showing that they are not afraid to use it. They ain't afraid to use it against, a presidential candidate. They ain't afraid to use it against kids. They ain't afraid to use it against random people on the highway. Right? So they ain't afraid to use it. So why is it that we don't have stricter gun laws? Right? Now, sure, we can't allow it just to be in the hands of the criminals. Right? But when it's all said and done, people do need to be protecting themselves, right? But when it's all said and done, when these weapons get out in the street into the hands of some of these maniacs and they get on some of these highways and they're shooting at people, right? What's it going to cause? It causes a ripple effect, right? I'm not sure how many accidents were caused as a result of this situation, right? But let's say you hit someone's tire, right? Or you shoot someone's window out and they're going 60, 70 miles an hour, 80 in some cases, right? And now they swerve, right? Swerve, they hit something, boom, it causes a ripple effect, right? So not only the person that you're shooting at is now affected by it, right? But also everyone else pretty much that's on the highway. So this is actually disastrous. This is not even borderline. It's just downright shameful what's been happening in America over the recent week. And like I said, guys, I do not watch the news. Like, the news isn't something that I watch. And I didn't really pay attention to what's going on the news until Wednesday, right? With the situation that happened down there in Winder, Georgia. So that's what got me. And after kind of scrolling through Instagram, seeing what it is that was happening there in Winder, Georgia, at a high school, Appalachian High School, I typed it into YouTube, and ever since then, it's just been popping up in the algorithm, right? So it's literally what I see most of the time whenever I type in something on YouTube, right? So I'm seeing what's going on there. I'm seeing what's going on in different places, in different cases. But I am not a person who normally watches the news, right? But at a time like this in America, with the things that are going on, you bet your bottom dollar you got to pay attention to what it is that's going on. You bet your bottom dollar you need to pay attention to what it is that's going on, right? Because these people exist all over America, right? So it's not just one state that it's happening in, right? So it's across 3 states, right? We've had 2 major mass shootings happen in the space of a few days, in the space of 3 days, right? 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days, right? We've had 2 mass shootings, one involving kids at a school. 4 people passed away from that situation. And now here, 5 people got shot at, but we don't know all the details yet, right? I don't know all the details. I really don't even know where to begin or what it is to really say to you guys. But the fact of the matter remains, we aren't doing enough to curb this situation, right? So you have people, they're like, oh, no, it's our amendment right. Until it happens to somebody that you love, or until it happens to you, right? Am I saying go take everybody's weapons off of it? But we need to stop putting the guns in the hands of certain people, right? People that are unhinged, right? And then moreover, in a lot of these cases, especially in the case of what happened over there in Georgia, assault rifles, right? It was that easy for a 14-year-old to get access to an assault rifle because daddy went and brought him an assault rifle. So what exactly are we talking about here? It's really a no-brainer, but of course, again, money talks, doesn't it? I mean, this is America after all, right? So as long as the pockets are getting lined up, it's cool. There are people out there that just don't care, right? Because their pockets are getting lined. And that's downright shameful, to be completely honest with you. I'm just going to be straightforward about it. I'm not telling people they shouldn't protect themselves. Absolutely, you should protect yourself, right? But having access to weapons and such easy access to weapons, it makes it easy for whenever someone has a disagreement with someone, for them the first thing for them to do is to go ahead and grab their weapon. Or even if they don't have a disagreement, they have a disagreement somewhere else, and then look, now you can't even drive on the highway. You can't even drive on the highway. I'm not entirely understanding what's happening in this country, but the rest of the world may be looking at us and thinking, man, these are the people that are this is the country that's the leader of the free world. This is the country that is the leader of the free world. This is the country that everyone's looking up to. I'm going to read some of the chat. Let's see what it is that you guys are saying. Do you think the country could be the problem too? UK and Canada have the same gun laws, but there are 100 times more violent crimes in London. I'm not entirely sure what it is that you're talking about. Are you talking about London, Kentucky, or are you talking about London, like London, England? Do you think the country could be the problem too? UK and Canada have the same gun laws, but there are 100 times more violent crimes in London. You kind of have to clarify that a little bit. I'm not sure if it's because I'm reading it wrong or if I don't really understand it too well. But when you're saying there's 100 times more violent crimes in London, are you referring to London, England, or are you referring to London? I'm going to read it one more time. Do you think the country could be the problem? The country as in the country America? Because I don't think you don't have the same gun laws in America as you do in the UK. The police don't even carry guns in the UK like that, right? So they carry like batons, right? So I'm not entirely sure that the same gun laws exist in the US as it exists in the UK. I don't think that's really accurate. And I'm not even really too sure about Canada. But I don't think so. Like even places like Memphis, Tennessee, right? I haven't confirmed it yet. But even if you have violent crimes, right? If you're a violent felon, you can get your hands on a weapon. You know something? So I lived in Georgia for about 2 years, right? I was going through some things, and I was kind of resetting my life, right? It just so happened that Georgia was the only place that I was able to go at the time. Without getting into too much details, right? So, being in Georgia for around 2 years, I remember there were times when, at the time, right? I had the dreadlocks, right? But I the sides of my dreads were kind of cut, right? So I would do it most of the time because I do most of my grooming. I've done most of my grooming for a very long time. But occasionally I would go and get somebody who does this professionally, who can give it a different angle to, taper it up or whatever it is. So, and going to get the sides of my my head kind of, faded. I go into a barbershop one day. I don't know any other barbers. I don't know anyone there, but here I am sitting waiting on my opportunity to sit in the barber's chair, right? So now when it's my time to go, I get up, right? And I see a barber, a heavy set guy, blue shirt on. I remember he had on some shorts, right? I believe it's black shorts. Yeah, I think the shorts were black, right? So he had on blue shirt, like deep blue, right? Not like navy blue or anything like that. But he had on a blue shirt, black shorts. When he turns around, I see he has a weapon on the side of his hip. Right? So I'm thinking, all right, well, why does he need a weapon on the side of his hip? Right? To cut someone's hair. Like, is it that dangerous for someone cutting hair that they need to be focusing on cutting your hair and also having a weapon on their hip? Is this the safest place for anybody to be, right? You're at a barbershop right now, and you're thinking in your head, man, this barbershop, is this really a safe place to really be right now? Like, why do you need to be cutting hair, right, with a weapon on the side of your hip? That's simply what you're insinuating, is that we're not safe here. So that's what you're insinuating to your customers, right? So it's one of those things. Maybe the guy lived an adventurous life. Who knows, right? Who knows? Maybe he has somebody that's looking for him, right? And he still has to go on and work as well, right? Playing devil's advocate. Or maybe he just likes the way it feels on the side of his hip. Right? And my whole thing is this. It's not even like it was concealed. Just out there in the open, anyone passing by, they could see that, yeah, all right, cool, this person's holding. Right? So now, what if you have some sort of disagreement, or the guy zaps your head, or does something crazy like that, right? Now you got to weigh up between whether or not you want to discuss about customer service, or you want your money back, or whatever it is, right? But now you got to kind of think, all right, cool, well, is this a situation that's even worth me even approaching, because that guy has a weapon on the side of his hip? Is that even a safe situation? Right? And I'm not saying, guys, I'm not sitting up here saying it's a bad thing for people to own and protect themselves with weapons. I'm not saying it's a bad thing for people to protect themselves with weapons. But it's just too easy for people to access these weapons. And it's too easy for people to be so quick to just pull these weapons and put it out and show it and all of these sort of things. It's far too easy. And then you go now, you know, within the space of a week, right? It's almost as if every single day, you hear about something else. And again, guys, I don't watch the news. This is something new to me, right? Not to say I haven't watched the news before. Yeah, there were times when, you know, that's all, you know, your grandma's watching, or that's all your dad's watching, or whatever it is. So that's all that's playing in the house, so you hear it, right? But what exactly is going on? In a civilized nation such as America, what exactly is going on? Why are these things happening so frequently? Let's address the mental health and the spiritual health of the American people before we start to address anything else. Because it's almost as if we're unhinged collectively. It's almost as if someone hit the self-destruct button. And it's really difficult to really watch this unfold. These are people, I don't know the people that are victims, but they're people just like you and I, right? The people that are pulling the triggers. What are the spiritual forces behind these people that are pulling these triggers? What are the spiritual forces behind these people that are doing these crimes? Why is it happening now all of a sudden so frequently, right? It ain't been 2 months yet since the situation happened against former President Trump, right? It ain't been 2 months, has it? What was it, July? Maybe it has been 2 months, but it ain't been much longer than 2 months. Right? And then boom, you fast forward, you know, a month and a half, 2 months later, you have a situation happen over there in Georgia. And then you have another situation happen yesterday, might I add, yesterday in Maryland. And then today, a few hours later, boom, lo and behold, here we are again, back to square one, right? So America, what exactly are we going to do about this situation? What are we going to do about this situation? So now the poll is up. We've had 55 votes. What is it that you guys want to see, right? What is it that you guys want to see? Let's see what the poll says. So, do we need more gun control? An astonishing 46% of people say no, we don't need more gun control. An astonishing 46% of people say no, we don't need more gun control. I'm laughing at the irony of that because I'm really shocked, to be completely honest with you. 47% of people. Look, 59 people have voted. 47% of people say no, we do not need more gun laws in a nation that has had 2 mass shootings in the space of days, guys. In the space of days. Mass shootings. Why? Are we so desensitized to it? That could have been your mother. That could have been your granny. That could have been your child. That could have been your uncle. That could have been your auntie. Not because it didn't happen to somebody you know. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean it didn't happen to someone. Why? Because it didn't happen to somebody you know? Is that why? Are you going to wait till it happens to somebody you know until you make, you take action? You're going to wait until then to take action? Let me check this again, man, because this got to be a joke. 48% now say no. It's got to be a joke. This has to be a joke. This is the Twilight Zone. Let me get into some of these comments because I'm not quite sure what it is that's going on here. I'm laughing at the irony of this. But it's nothing funny about it. And that's the crazy part about this. He said, I meant comparing UK to Canada. Okay, let me see. Let me go back and get some of these chats that you guys have been talking about. Still a manhunt underway, says Justin Hood. Yes, so I've heard. Still a manhunt underway for this suspect. I believe his last name's Couch. I don't remember what his first name was. Let me see if we could find that information. His last name's Couch. Don't quite remember what his first name was. And it's not just popping up just yet, right? Okay. Joseph A. Couch. It's his name. Joseph A. Couch, like a sofa. Right? And of course, you got to sign up for this. I don't want to sign up for any newsletters or anything like that. But let me check the poll again to see what it is that's happening. Okay, 54-46. All right, cool. I think people are starting to grow a little bit more sense. Not to say that you guys are idiots, but yeah. Not to say that you guys are idiots, right? I could think it, but I don't have to say it. And of course, you guys are not all idiots. But the people who are saying, no, we don't need any gun control. We don't need any gun control with all of these things going on. What is your solution? Please tell me what exactly your solution is. What exactly is your solution to these problems that keep happening over and over and over again? Should we then, in return, should we get more guns? Is that what we should do? We should just get more guns and everybody just slug it out? Is that your solution? I'm interested. What is the solution? Since some of you guys are saying this, since some of you guys are saying, no, we don't need more gun control, what do you believe is the solution to the problem? Please tell me. I'm interested in hearing. I will look forward to hearing some of the suggestions that you guys have in the chat. I really would, right? But this really starts at the spiritual and the mental level, guys. I'm sure we've all suffered at one point or another with some form of mental, I don't want to say illness, but some sort of maybe mental fatigue, some sort of, I don't know, lapse in judgment, burst of anger, yelling at someone, maybe typing some mean messages, right? I'm sure we all have. But how many people go, take a weapon, and go onto I-75 or I-74 or whatever it is over there? I-74, is it I-74? I-75, right? Interstate 75 over there in Kentucky. And just start shooting at random people. How many people do that? How many sane people do that? How many people that are spiritually and mentally balanced do that? If we had more gun control, would he be able to do that? Probably wouldn't be able to get his hands on some guns to do that. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm really interested in hearing what exactly you guys have to say about this. There are gun laws here in the Netherlands, but morrows walk with nines just like leap years. Morrows? Who are morrows? I'm not entirely sure what morrows are. Mr. Mach R9 Gator. Not entirely sure what that is. Someone says Jesus loves you. Thank you so much. Hard Rocker says you live in the Wild West. I want to argue with you. I really do. I really do. In here, internally, right, I found some level of peace, right? I will protect those people that I love with my life if it comes to it, right? Without a question, and it would be an honor, right? But I ain't going out there doing nothing that these guys are doing to all of these innocent people that don't have anything to do with anything. Right? And people are out here just all willy-nilly with their weapons, right? Like it's candy. Like it's candy. And the crazy thing is, again, I tell you guys about self-control, man. Like, we've had these conversations about self-control. It doesn't make you tough because you could pull a trigger. It really doesn't. Anybody could pull it. Anybody could pull a trigger. We all have the power of life and death over one another if we so choose. There is no such thing as somebody. Look at what happened to the president, the president-elect the other day. Look what happened, right? Even people that are in those positions are not immune to these things happening. So what makes you think that you are? Not saying you guys do, but obviously something's going on because people are saying, no, we don't need more gun control. No, we don't. Then what do we need? I'm interested in finding out. I'm so interested because I know you guys have such brilliant ideas. Brilliant ideas. So I'm interested in checking out what it is that you guys have to say about it. What exactly are we going to do about these situations? Right? Because it's become so normalized and it's something so normal that people don't think that we need to tame it. 92 votes now. They just hit 92. And guys, an overwhelming 52% of people say no, we don't need more gun control. 52% of people say no, we don't need more gun control. Guys, this is America. This is the United States of America, where 53% of people out of 93 votes, 94 now, back to 52, are saying no, we do not need more gun control. So I'm interested in hearing what some of the solutions to these crimes are. From all of you guys that are here tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, let's see. Okay. I'm saying although the UK and Canada have the same laws, UK is way more violent. So maybe it's not about the laws, it's about the people. Well, some things, I mean, Canada is a really big country. It doesn't really have, in terms of the violence per capita, right, which you're probably talking about the rate of violence, right, when you're comparing the UK to Canada. We don't really know what it is that goes on in Canada, right? There are people that are kind of doing, unaliving themselves in Canada as well, at an alarming rate. Maybe it's still the case, but when I went to Toronto the last time, my uncle showed me some of the meshes that were that were suspended beside some bridges, because he was saying that this is something that's happening to prevent people from jumping off of these bridges intentionally. But we don't know, right? We don't know. These are the reported crimes, the crimes that are being reported. Maybe it is the people, maybe it's the climate, but when it's all said and done, it's happening at a spiritual level. It's happening in the intangible level, right? It's people are identifying with these low vibrational thoughts, these low frequency thoughts. They're tuning their dial into some frequencies that are just bizarre, right? They're tuning their dial into some frequencies that are bizarre, right? These low vibrational frequencies. And they're acting on their impulses based on the frequency that they are in. So when you say people, we all have the power inside of us, right? We all to tap into some higher vibrational frequency. We all do, right? Because energy can't be created nor destroyed, guys. And we are all energy. Every single person that you see is energy, which cannot be created nor can it be destroyed, right? So even though, people may cease to exist in this third dimension, they will transcend this dimension, and they will forever be here. Maybe not the consciousness. Maybe the consciousness isn't something that's recycled. Maybe that's just something that's really a third dimensional thing. But yeah. Let's go on. Tony Baloney says, is about the government treatment of the people. Whoopster. Not entirely sure what it is that means. I'm trying to read into what it is that you're saying. Trust me on that. So what exactly are you saying? Are you saying that the government is the problem? Is that what you're saying? Is about the government treatment of the people? So is that why this guy decided that he was going to come and shoot at random people? So is that why he's shooting at random people on the highway? That's what I would like for that to make a little bit more sense. I'm not going to sit up here and act like the government's perfect and things are perfect, right? But is that why he's shooting at random people? And is that why little what's his name, Colt Gray, did what he did to the 4 students over there in or to the 4 people, 2 students and 2 teachers over there in Georgia? So Tony Baloney, I'd like for you to elaborate a little bit more, because I would like to understand precisely what it is that you're saying. I really would like to understand a little bit more on a deeper level what it is that you're saying. Yeah, the country, Tony. I count the government as people. In the Netherlands, says Gator, Wola. Not entirely sure what that is. I've seen the damage on restaurants too. They just do it for fun. Are you talking about like soccer hooligans or football hooligans, or like what exactly? Who does it for fun? Just people, just random people are just doing random stuff to restaurants? Is that what you're saying? I'm not entirely sure where you're going with that. He says I don't eat there anymore. Okay, maybe I missed something. Maybe I should just kind of go back a little bit so I can understand what it is that you're saying. Gun laws here in the Netherlands. Okay, cool. Yeah. Maybe it's something that I said in between. Chatty LaBelle, rather get caught with it than without it, says Devo Lottie. Okay, Devo Lottie. Rather get caught with it than without it. Well, there you go. Rather get caught with it than without it. Where exactly are you going with that? Where exactly are you going with that? Because I never once said that people don't need to protect themselves, right? But getting these weapons are far too easy. That's what it is that I'm talking about. They're far too easy. Far too easy. It's like going to the candy and buying some Now and Laters or some Starburst or something, or a bag of potato chips. It's far too easy. And I know most people will agree with that. 104 votes. Let's see what's happening. 52% Still, this is America, guys. This is America. I carry in my truck and everywhere I go, says JoJo Sports. Okay, thank you for sharing. Why do you think insurance exists? The world is a violent place. You can't blame someone for preparing, says Chevy, for preparing. I think you guys, you see, this is what I'm talking about, right? So people aren't really thinking about what it is that they're saying or what it is that I've said, right? They're not thinking about, they're just going off of their own impulses. And it's just the narrow-minded, narrow vision that we're talking about here, right? People keep thinking or keep saying that I'm saying that they should not have any weapons, right? I'm saying it's far too easy for people to access these weapons. I'm saying it's far too easy for people to just be using these weapons. And I guarantee you, Mr. Chevy, if someone pops somebody that you love, God forbid, you would have a completely different perspective on what it is that you're saying, good sir. Have you ever lost anybody to gun violence? Has anyone here ever lost anybody to gun? My best friend at 16 years old lost his life to gun violence. My mother's brother, Uncle Romeo, God rest his soul, lost his life to gun violence. Myself, almost, but it just wasn't my time, right? Just wasn't my time. And I wouldn't say almost. They were miles off. I'm going to be completely honest with you, right? And I don't know what I owe that to. But at the same time, what it is that I'm saying, guys, it's far too easy for people to be getting their hands on these weapons and just using them at will. So let's not wait until it happens to somebody that we love, right? For us to be like, oh my God, let's march the streets and this, that, and the third. Protect yourselves. I sincerely mean that. Protect yourselves. Protect your family. Right? Don't go out and do what Colt did. Don't go out and do what this young man, Colt and this other individual named Joseph did. Right? And this other guy in Maryland. Not even entirely sure what his name is. Right? Those people are not protecting themselves. They weren't. So then, again, do we need more restrictions? Do we need more gun control? Right? So, looking again, 118 votes, 53% of people say no. We don't. I hope at some point in the future we get smart enough to study the people that existed in 2024 and the people that existed in America. Hopefully at some point in the future, this is how people used to think. And they think to themselves, man, I'm glad we didn't live in those times. Hopefully at some point in the future, that's where we get to. Because if this is the current climate and this is how we think as a people, come on, guys. If this is how we think as a people, I'm not telling you guys not to protect yourself and your family. By all means, protect yourself and your family. By all means. I co-sign that. Protect yourself and your family. Right? But unhinged, people that are not balanced, people that are spiritually unwell, people that are mentally unwell, right? People that do not have good intentions should not be getting their hands on these weapons. People that lack self-control should not be getting their hands on these weapons. So I believe there absolutely should be more regulation on these weapons. I do 100%. I believe that. 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 So if you're protecting yourself, then by all means continue to protect yourself. I have no problem with people protecting themselves. I don't. But what I do have a problem with is 2 mass shootings in a space of 3 days in 2 separate states. Yeah, that's a problem. I think that's a problem. I think that's a big problem. And don't think it can't happen to you. Don't sit up here and think it can't happen to you and somebody that you love. Because it absolutely can happen to you and someone that you love. God forbid. That's not something that I want. But before it gets to that point, guys, that's all I'm saying. Before it gets to that point, yeah, absolutely. I think there are things that we need to do. There are steps that need to be taken, right? There are steps that need to be taken ASAP, not tomorrow, right now. Arturo Andreas says, I'd wager that good barber gets good clients who tip good cash. Lots of cash might attract petty thieves, or maybe someone who might not like what the barber has done and stiff the barber, maybe. I think you're referring to what it is that I was talking about earlier. Look, you ain't got to show it to actually have it, right? You don't have to. If you have it, you ain't got to show it. You don't have to broadcast that you have it. You understand what I'm saying? If somebody's threatening you and you got to protect yourself, then by all means, protect yourself, right? But this isn't one of those things. Because just because you having the gun for show on the side of your hip doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're now protected. Because somebody might see you and you don't see them. You could finish the sentence. Somebody might see you and you don't see them. And it's now a matter of who pulls first. So I hear what it is that you're saying. Right? But people ain't just gonna, oh yeah, all right, he has a sting on him. Okay, cool. Because he has a sting on him, now we can't go over there and negotiate with him. Because he has it on him. So ain't no point in going over there and talking to him. You get what I'm saying, Arturo? Right? So yeah. It's one of those things. Especially when you're in a barbershop and there's glass everywhere and people see you that you don't see them. Right? So I hear what it is that you're saying. I don't dispute what it is that you're saying. Right? I don't. But yeah, come on, man. Come on. Come on. Don't wait till it happens to somebody that you love. Do not wait until it happens to somebody that you love. Right? And I'm not telling people that they don't need to protect themselves, because they absolutely do. People absolutely do need to protect themselves. Yes. I believe every American, I believe every man, every person has the right to protect himself and his family. Right? But when people go out in the offense and they're doing these things to other people's family members, especially when you're at random attacks, like, what was happening today, right? And Colt, I'm not even entirely sure what triggered him or made him do what it is that I'm hearing developing stories that he was a member of a certain, I'm not even entirely sure, right? Maybe that he wasn't straight and people were making fun of him because of that or whatever it is. But I can't confirm that, right? That's just what someone was saying. So until I see concrete proof, that's just speculation as far as I'm concerned. Right? But now these people are they're just imbalanced, right? So they don't know how to deal now with these emotions that they're feeling. They don't know that self-control and being able to have self-control and going somewhere and sitting, meditating, sitting with yourself and just overcoming this obstacle without having to lift a finger, right? Because you don't realize that it's not something that's happening in the physical world. It's something that's happening internally, right? So because the situation's happening internally and you're not addressing the situation internally, right? You're not addressing the problem internally because you might feel, oh, this is just me. There's nothing wrong, right? When meanwhile, there's so much going on the inside. And because you're not addressing that situation, right, you now go out and do something absolutely stupid and unwarranted. So I believe every American and every person deserves the right and has the right to protect their family. So I won't say no, right? But do we need more gun control? Absolutely, right? Yeah. Look at this guy. He's trolling. You're trolling. You're trolling and now you're rolling. God, I love the internet, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know something? I'm not even gonna address you. I'm just gonna leave that there. USA country size is too big for gun laws. That's the problem because they don't want to split the USA into two countries. I'm not sure who would want to do that. Yeah, I don't think they want to do that. To be honest with you, Hardy Hempstead says, fist up emoji. They can't control the size of your country. I hear what it is you're saying, but I don't think that's accurate at all. I don't think these things are happening in Russia. I don't think these things are happening in China. Are they? If they are, I don't know. Right? And these are countries at around, if not bigger, around the same size as America. Canada is pretty damn big. Are these things happening in Canada? Someone just pointed out that these things don't happen in Canada like that. Someone just pointed that out maybe 20, 30 minutes ago. That these things aren't happening in Canada. And I believe it was you that pointed that out. Right? Canada's a little bit bigger in terms of landmass than America, I believe. Right? If not, it's not that much smaller. So yeah, Gator, I believe it was you that pointed that out. So Canada itself is actually bigger than the United States, not in terms of population, but in terms of landmass, right? So what's the problem over there then? You get what I'm saying? Unlocking Paradoxes. How you doing, Unlocking Paradoxes? Been a minute, man. Been a minute. To put it in short terms, a lot of people have no self-control or common sense. 100%. Whatever happened to putting on boxing gloves and then sitting and settling things and afterwards have a handshake and move along? Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to the good old days? Whatever happened to the good old days, huh? Yeah, I suppose, yeah, you know what I mean? That's bad and not as bad as freaking, you know what I mean, popping someone, right? But at the same time, it's like, we're adults now. You see, when I was a kid, yeah, I would fight, right? That was my thing, right? I'm an adult now. We can have dialogue, right? It doesn't have to get to that point. And if it gets to the point where I got to defend myself and my family, so be it. Right? But when you get to a certain point in your life and you get to a certain age, you start to realize, man, the way how I used to handle situations, I don't need to handle them like that anymore. What does it do for me? What does it do for the other person? What does it do but create more bad karma? You understand what I'm saying? And those people with the negative impulses, I could read some of your minds right now. Right? Because some of you guys are thinking, man, you got to be a man about it or whatever it is, right? Those aggressive impulses. That's precisely what it is that we're talking about right now. Not having control, not having self, because we all could have those aggressive impulses, right? But when you get to the point where you're like, all right, well, 30, 35, 40, 45, right? You should have a lot more control over your impulses than someone in their 20s. Than someone that as a teenager. But Unlocking Paradoxes, I agree with a lot of what it is that you just said just now. Alexander Beamer says, we need criminal controls. We need criminal controls, he says. Well, We have someone that's running for president right now. Uh, and was he convicted? Who knows, right? I know there was something that happened, but I didn't really follow the whole thing. Um, but was it a felony or something like that? I'm not even entirely sure. But there's like this meme going on around the internet saying that other people should be able to apply without putting have they done a felony or this, that, and the third in the past because this guy is now running for president. So I did see those things as well, right? Um, but yeah, yeah. You know what? I'm not even gonna touch that one right now. But yeah, we definitely need some more control when it comes to weapons. Okay, and we need more spiritual balance and mental balance. Let's just leave it at that. But I hear what you're saying, man. I really do. Wow, the other night you only had 11 people watching. What happened? What's the method? Quote question mark. Look, man, things happen, right? Things change. You put in the work and then things happen, right? EWA, that doesn't work in heaven of Rotterdam and Mokro Mafia. You're saying things that I'm not even familiar with. What is heaven of Rotterdam? And what is macro mafia? What are those things? I'm not familiar with those things at all. That's our new friend, and hopefully he has subscribed to our channel, who is from over there in the Netherlands, who is speaking about some things that I honestly do not know what it is that we're talking about when it comes to, those macro mafia and the other thing that you said. Okay, I'm going to skip that comment. Mandatory gun ownership, says King James. That's Hey, Sarah, can you please ban King James for that stupid comment? Can you please ban him for that? Sarah, please, just find King James and just ban him for saying that. Please. Please, Sarah. Please. Hello, by the way, Sarah. I just saw that you were here. I didn't know that you were here before. But this guy, King James, yeah, he needs to go for that comment. Mandatory gun. What? Hey, why don't just give it to a 2-year-old, right? Why not just give it to a 2-year-old? Man, you know what? It's cool. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for banning him, Sarah. Thank you so much for banning that guy. I appreciate it. I sincerely appreciate it. Sarah never lets me down, guys. I love Sarah, right? She's a big supporter of this community. She's from over there in Scotland, and she is an absolute gem. Thank you so much, Sarah. You know, guys, I don't I don't often call things stupid on this channel. If you do watch this channel, you do know I do let a lot of things go, right? But that's just stupid. That's just a stupid thing to say. I'm sorry, but that's a stupid thing to say. It's a very stupid thing to say. And that's exactly why we have the problems that we have in this country right now. Right? Because there's people over there that think this is a joke. And because I'm smiling at the irony of it, they think that it's a joke. There's nothing funny about this stuff. It's nothing funny about it at all. Tony Baloney again says, ban guns. People just sharpen their knives. Tony Baloney, I hear what you're saying. But no one said ban guns. Just need more gun control. Right? We need more control. That's it. That's all we're saying. That's it. Arturo Andres says, I hate that some people's solution to gun violence is more guns. That's Arturo. Thank you so much, Arturo. Arturo, thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for saying. See, someone else feels how I feel about that situation. Why? Why? All right. Well, we just had the Kobe thing happen just now. Oh, put more guns out there. Give them more guns. What? Come on, America. We could do better than that. We could do better than that. We can't have a civilization that's built on this foundation. This foundation will crumble, right? The people will eat themselves alive. You understand what I'm saying? Unless we start having some sort of changes in regards to these things. We could do so much better. We absolutely can, guys. We're not doing enough to curb these problems. Tank or Crawford? I believe I answered that question before. It would be close, but I would probably lean toward Tank. But it definitely would be close because those two are just phenomenal athletes and phenomenal beasts. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford won, to be honest with you. Someone says no guns. Eric says this guy speaks facts. Thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate that. I sincerely do. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah. What kind of action, says you Grizzle? And you mean that in regards to what exactly? But some can tout background checks, all that, but people who break the law will always find a way to get their hands on a weapon. I understand what it is that you're saying. People who break the law will be able to find loopholes and ways how they could get their hand on something, and just continue their sort of habitual sort of life habits, right? But in the cases of the things that we can control, right? Like for instance, right? It's reported, right, that the weapon used in the Kobe with the cult, right? What was his name? I forgot his name. But the cult kid, Colt Gray, right? That's what his name was? Colt Gray. In his situation, his father purchased the weapon for him and gave it to him as a Christmas gift, right? So yeah, I hear what it is you're saying. That's why I say, all right, people who I don't think people should give up their weapons, right? But I think it should be more difficult for people to get their hands on the weapons. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Who says you can't break the law if your guns are legal? Well, yes, you can, because Kobe just broke the law with his legal gun. So I don't agree with that. And guns will always be available illegally, even if the laws get stricter, says Unlocking Paradoxes. I hear what it is that you're saying. They will always be there illegally, right? But if it's harder for them to get their hands on it, then they won't be able to get it. And then there's this new thing too, with the 3D printers and stuff like that I was hearing about. A lot of people are using like 3D printers. This is what I hear still. I've heard this on the internet somewhere. I don't know how true it is, but people are using like 3D printers to get like the extendos. And for why exactly do people need extendos? Only God knows, to be honest with you. But yeah, we definitely need more control. We definitely need more control. Whatever that means for you, we need to control the situation a whole lot more. But 56% of people do not agree with that. Okay. But murder is already illegal. So how is that working out? It says STU pedestal. The questions people ask. Okay. All right, sir. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it. Guns need to be limited. For some reason, when people say that there needs to be more gun laws, people think that that means that guns will be taken away completely. Exactly. I think that's what they're thinking right now. They're thinking that that's not what any of us are saying, right? It just should be more difficult for people to get their hands on these weapons. That's it. That's the big speech, right? That's the big speech. Here in the Netherlands, a jail sentence at least is minimal. At best, if you get caught owning a gun, a legal or an illegal gun. Because if it's an illegal gun, you're saying it's minimal? We need stricter gun laws, says Eric. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. Definitely agree. I've been saying they need to put shut down lock on guns that are close to schools or other places they shouldn't have a gun by. I hear what it is that you're saying, and that makes a lot of sense, Ivan. Shut down lock on guns. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, with modern technology, they can absolutely do that with the weapons that they're creating. But you know, that in itself may also be risky. Especially when people have the older versions of those weapons. And then, you know, people who need to protect the kids as well, right? So it goes both ways, right? You could use these weapons to protect, and you could also use these weapons to do damage, do lots of damage, cause trauma, wreak havoc. So yeah, you know, these are ideas, and I think we got to start getting back to the drawing board as a people, as a country. We got to start getting back to the drawing board and coming up with solutions to a lot of the problems that we do have, because America should be safe, right? America should be at the very least the safest country. It should. Downright it should. If you call yourself the leader of the free world, if you call yourself the best country in the world, then it should be the safest country as well. It should be leading in terms of that as well, right? So, yeah, I think we got a lot to learn in that regard from places like, what was the name of that place? Was it Norway? Yeah, in places like Norway, right? In places like Canada. You know, some places in Africa where they don't have a lot of crime as well. Says that's because you aren't free in the Netherlands. I don't know what that means, but I think they are. I like guns, but we shouldn't let them get into the wrong hands. We need stricter gun laws, says Eric. Thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate that. I thank you so much. I thank you so much. I think you understand what it is that we're saying over here, right? I think you understand it. At STU, that's different. If you murder someone with a gun, you're misusing the right of owning a gun. Okay, I can see that. I can see that. That's what they say, says Arturo and Andreas. They say teachers need to be armed. That could be making it tricky in itself. That could be a little making it tricky in itself. I think people need to go through some psychological, spiritual evaluation first before they get their hands on these weapons. I think people need to prove that they're not impulsive. I think people need to prove that they can remain calm in pressurized situations, right? And even in pressurized situations, when you do come under these situations, right, under these, again, pressurized situations, for lack of a better term, and you are able to keep a certain cool head, right? Not to say you're not going to respond if you need to respond, but you're going to keep a cool head. I think, yeah, those people that are diplomatic, that can talk it out, those people that prove those things, right? I think those people should be the ones that are able to get the access to the weapons, to be honest with you. People that are proving that they are staying out of trouble, that they're not, gonna cause trauma, i.e. the situation that happened over there in Georgia, right? Because what really baffles me is that kid was actually under investigation for the same exact thing that he ended up doing. And his father thought it would be a brilliant idea to really set his son up for failure by going out and purchasing a weapon and giving it to his 14-year-old child, right? Who is so emotional and is getting bullied, right? That he decides that he's going to come back to school and start popping people left, right, and center with an AR, with an assault rifle that his father brought for him, knowing what's going on with his son, right? Without really sitting down and actually really knowing what's going on with his son, but knowing what's going on with his son, if that makes sense, right? In terms of he knew that his son was going through these things, right? That he was being investigated. He even said, right? I heard the audio tape where he even said that, yeah, we have conversations about these things. We've spoken about these things. That's what he said. I think people need to really sit down and really talk to their children and talk to their parents from a balanced level, like a balanced perspective. And people are not, they're just not doing enough of that, guys. Ghost guns will always exist, says Unlocking Paradoxes. They want the neighbors to be a kind of minute militia. Better people in political positions. You cannot stop criminals from getting guns, says Alexander Beamar. I hear what it is that you're saying. But I think we can. It doesn't mean guns will disappear full, but people will risk less owning guns because they might risk a jail sentence. Yeah. Also, a lot of places have open carry, so places like that, it will be harder to control. Yes. Why do you think we shouldn't have guns available? Who said that? Who said? See? I'm not even going to answer that question. With what? A spoon? What's your point? I don't know what that is referring to. Moro refers to Moroccans, and Marco and Macro 9 is macro with a 9M. And gator means danger. Okay. All right. So you're a Moroccan is what you're saying. So you're a Moroccan gator, which means danger. Right? Okay. I sort of understand it. I sort of get it. Big up to Morocco. And big up to the Netherlands. If you're a law-abiding citizen and you can have a gun without harming others or committing crimes, you shouldn't have to worry about losing your rights. Yes, Unlocking Paradoxes. That's precisely what it is that I mean. That's what I mean. That's exactly what it is that I'm saying. Right? I'm not going to say people don't get jammed up sometimes. You might get jammed up protecting somebody, right? But at the end of the day, it's not one of those cases where you're out going doing stuff to random people. In these cases, these people are doing things to random people. What part of that don't people understand? What part of that don't people understand? 187 votes, 57% of people say no. We don't need more gun control. 57% of people say no, we don't need more gun control. Crooks don't obey the law. People can't defend themselves, especially when crooks have weapons. Again, not saying people shouldn't have weapons, just saying it shouldn't be so easy for crooks and people who are unhinged to get their hands on weapons. Take rights away from offenders, Unlocking Paradoxes. Yes, completely understand what it is that you're saying. Arturo says that was staged. I will not go as far as saying that was staged. It's very difficult for me to ever say something like that because I know that people are being affected by these situations. So I don't ever want to get up here and talk about what exactly is staged. Before I even get into that, what exactly is staged to you, Mr. Arturo? Guys, we had a whole bunch of people in here. We only have 9 likes, which is mind-blowing. And we've had some subscribers, but guys, you need to get those subscriber counts up as well as we continue to this discussion. Question: should we take cars from any or all people because they have? What the? He's talking about cars. He's comparing cars to guns. This guy's up here comparing cars to gun. Sarah. Oh my God. You know what, Sarah? Take it easy. Take it easy. I'm not gonna ban this guy. I'm not gonna ban him. Right? Even though he's comparing cars that get people from to and from work, to and from the hospital, that transport people to and from the hospital, and transfer people to and from work, transport goods and services from point A to point B. He is comparing that with weapons. I'm not even going to answer that question or address you, good sir. I hope you're having a wonderful night, but I'm not going to give you my energy. And that's for Avatar SY. I'm not going to respond to that. Right? Because people use stupid things like that in order to justify what it is that they're saying. That is absolutely stupid. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Right? And this is me speaking from a third dimension right now. This is people seeing a completely different side of me. Because I'm not sure. This is so intense and it's so life or death that we have to get serious about it. Right? But Mr. Avatar C1, that is an absolutely stupid comparison. I'm just being completely honest with you, right? I'm speaking from the heart when I'm saying that. Can cars be dangerous? Yes. We established that earlier today when we had a conversation. And we were talking about one of our community members that was in a recent incident that happened. We're not going to get into that, right? So we were talking about that. If you haven't seen the stream, there is a stream up that I did earlier today, and we did address the dangers of people driving with cars and people not being patient and people getting hurt, right? Someone's 11-month-old kid was injured by a vehicle, right? But we're not up here saying, oh, yeah, oh, people should ban vehicles, because vehicles are not used. That's not the sole purpose of vehicles, to harm. Right? And we're not even saying ban weapons. You just pulled that out of you. You just saw what you did was you saw the title and you just wanted to take a side, right? And this is just shows you how tribal people are and how people just want to be tribal and they just want to just take up a position on something without even knowing the facts, without even knowing what it is that we're even talking about. He just wants to take up a position to say, hey, yeah, well, should we ban cars too? And I guarantee you. I guarantee you he thinks that was a brilliant statement. I guarantee you he thinks that was a brilliant question. I guarantee you he thinks he said something that makes sense. I guarantee you. Because before it came out, I'm sure he thought about it. I'm sure he was like, yeah, this'll get him. Yeah. What about cars? Should we ban cars too? Come on, man. Should we ban cars too? He's comparing cars to weapons. And moreover, no one even said ban weapons. We talking about control over these weapons. More control over these weapons is what we're talking about. But in your mind, you know what? I'm going to move on. I'm going to leave him up here. Guys, don't ban him. Leave him here because I want him to learn something. Mr. Avatar C, I want you to learn something. I want you to go back and watch this video. And I want you to open your mind. I want you to open your mind. And I want you to think beyond just your limited perspective. Right? Or the box that you box yourself into. And this isn't me insulting you, but this is such a real situation. Like this, what's happening is so real that we need to have this discussion. It needs to be had. Because people are getting murked on a day-to-day, on a daily basis. People are getting murked, right? So yeah, that wasn't a good comparison. That wasn't. And whenever anyone is saying, "Oh yeah, should we ban cars too?" and we're talking about weapons, just walk away from that person. Don't even engage with them. Just walk away from them. Just walk away from them. Toronto is definitely dangerous. There are dangerous parts everywhere. Unlocking paradoxes. Yeah, there are some dangerous parts in Toronto. You're right about that. But there are some really kind parts in Toronto as well. I mean, yeah, there's dangers everywhere, and there's danger everywhere, right? I can understand that. But however, we can't just we need to stop putting weapons in the hands of dangerous people. That's what it is that I'm saying, right? That's all that I'm saying, right? Don't do certain things, prone certain acts are unhinged and are online threatening that they're going to do something, or they have such an extensive history with violence, then yeah, it's people like that we got to really look into. You get what I'm saying? We all got the power, says Bala Marte. You're absolutely right. We need to go inward a lot more, brother. You're right, man. You're right. You're definitely right about that. If people don't know, if you are armed, they tend to think twice before doing violence. All right, so we went over this before, good sir. We went over this exact thing before. If you're armed, right, and if someone really wants to get you, all it means is they just ain't gonna do it close to you. That's all it means, right? Because there are gonna be people that see you, sir, and you don't see them, right? So if that's your sense of security, if that's your only sense of security, think again, young man. So yeah, will people close to you think twice? Right? But all that means is people are just going to step back and further, right? Doesn't mean that you're immune from something happening to you, sir. But I do understand your perspective, and that is a better point. But still, it doesn't connect. I just practice being peaceful and kind to everyone, says unlocking paradoxes. Yes, practice being peaceful and kind to everyone. Doesn't always work, right? Because you're going to have people that are just combustible and just maniacs, regardless of how peaceful you are to them, right? You're going to have people that are like that. But at the end of the day, as long as you're balanced and you're doing the right thing, continue to remain balanced, continue to do the right thing. And I'm proud of you for that. I'm absolutely proud of you for that. Right? Somebody says we have them for government. Laugh out loud. You don't get it? Again, restriction. I'm not saying people shouldn't have their weapons. Again, people are missing the point. They are missing the point. That's why 59% of people say we don't need more gun control. 59% of people out of 204 votes say we do not need more gun control. Oh, welcome to America, guys. I hope you guys are trolling. I think these people are trolling. I really do. I do. Honestly, I do. No, why UK is appearing more violent. The Canada, what website, what Webster said. Okay. Yeah, I think I see what it is that you're trying to say, but not quite. Still, we treasure what's material, neglecting our spiritual. You're absolutely right about that, Bala, Marit. You're absolutely right about that. And all of these things are really coming from the spiritual. It's yeah. We're spiritually imbalanced. We're mentally imbalanced in this country, and we're physically imbalanced in this country, and we got to get back to balance ASAP. Right? We have it in us. We can do it. Trust me when I tell you we could do it. We could have more empathy for one another. We could be more caring toward one another. We could realize that we are not. we talk about people loving themselves, and I think some people might think, oh, you just love your ego and you just love how you look. You love the way how you talk. You love your race. You love this, that, and the third. But it's deeper than that. It's bigger than that, right? Because what we identify as, and everyone has an ego, so everyone identifies as something, right? But I would much rather be identify as a son, as a father, as a brother, as a friend, right? As the love of someone's life, as love, right? And things of that nature than I would any other third dimensional label, right? Than any other third dimensional label. I think those things are important. I think those things are not taught enough. I think we just teach people how to identify as this race or someone from this community or, us against them or, like the things that we choose to identify as, right? And these things shift right throughout the day. But I think we've lost sight collectively of the actual fact that we are spiritual beings more than anything else. More than any label that you could put on us. More than any race. Right? More than any religion. More than any political party. More than any country. Right? We are spiritual beings. And we have it in us. Each and every one of us. We have it in us. Right? To love one another. No bullshit. I'm not even bullshitting you right now. Right? But it starts with us loving ourselves. People that love themselves, guys, don't go to I-75 and shoot at random people. People that love themselves don't do that. People that care about themselves don't do that. And I'm not talking about a third dimensional self. I'm talking about the energy that connects us all. That's what it is I'm talking about. And I'm not up here trying to preach to you guys. You could believe it, or if you don't want to believe it, it's completely up to you, right? But shut off your conscious mind for a little bit, right? Not shut it off, right? Like, obviously, people are going to be like, oh, hey, how do you do that? How do you do that? For lack of a better term, right? And we're being poetic here a little bit, right? And observe the world with your spiritual mind every now and then, right? Get back to balance, guys. Spend some time with yourself. Do some meditating. Do some breathing exercises, right? Come to a state of calm. Whenever you get upset sometimes, just breathe a little bit, right? Just send some oxygen, send some life into your lungs, into your body, and let out the frustration, right? We all don't have to take aim at one another and try to hurt one another, because these things are not always necessary, right? We could do a whole lot better in that regard. One person you can't just put all on one incident. You obviously haven't got a clue. All on one incident. Okay. So we just been talking about one incident all week. That's the only thing that happened the whole week. In this guy's world. Pony NY, you realize criminals don't care if you ban guns, so you'd be without if. See, we're talking about banning guns again. I'm never gonna respond to people that are saying that. The individuals that partake in those violent actions are the only ones that know why they are doing something, and some of those people probably don't even understand why. It is just a matter of being dark intended, says Unlocking Paradoxes. And I understand what it is that you're trying to say. I say allow those teachers who I want to be armed to be, then people would think twice. I hear you. I'm all for gun control, but I'll be damned if a cray-cray brings a gun to a fist fight. It's the people opposed to gun control who would be banned from owning guns that take great offense. Once again, government. Oh my God. People. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. I'm not going to say the government is perfect. I'm not going to sit up here and say the government is perfect. I'm not going to say any government is perfect. But would you rather live in a society without sort of like any sort of rules or any sort of anything governing the society? Would you rather live in that society where and I'm not going to say, again, I'm not going to say the system's perfect. The system has a lot of flaws that we need to collectively work on, right? To make it something better for everyone, right? Not just good for some people, right? So let's just put that on the table. But at the same time, would you rather live somewhere where there was absolutely no government at all? Or maybe something else with another name. Maybe it doesn't have to be a government, but some sort of organization, right? Some sort of organized group of people that are there to actually help other people. Because that was, I think the intention of what the government was intended to be, it's probably not exactly what it is right now. But at the same time, we can't sit up here and act as if, because again, look at this, right? The people that are 59% of people out of 215 that voted don't think that we should have gun control. So imagine if there were absolutely no consequences for people that were doing things like this to other people. Imagine that. Imagine what would happen then. Imagine what would happen if you could just go into somebody's house, smoke them, and then go sleep in their bedroom and wake up the next day and now it's your house. Imagine that. Right? So would you rather live in a world where that's the norm? Would you rather live in that world? Because I know I wouldn't, to be completely honest with you. Right? And I'm not going to sit up here and act like it's perfect. It is not perfect. It needs a whole lot of work. A whole lot of work. But at the same time, guys, would you rather live in a different type of society where all of those things are the norm? Think about it. Think about that. Arturo, you're wasting your time responding to Tony Baloney. I don't even think he's going to want to try to understand what it is that you're saying, to be completely honest with you, man. I'm sure you can't, but attaining guns in the U.S. is super easy. It's like asking someone to go pick up a gallon of milk at the store for you. Yeah. And it shouldn't be that easy. And that's the point of the video that we're making, is that it shouldn't be that easy for people to just go and pick up guns, right? It just shouldn't be that easy. You understand what I'm saying? It just shouldn't be that easy. And I'm not against people protecting their family and protecting themselves. I'm not. I think every man should. I think every person should. Right? But yeah, I think some people didn't read into what it is that I was saying. Have you ever been shot? No. Been shot as a civilian and in the military. Have you? He's saying, have I ever been shot? I've been shot at. And I made that abundantly clear, right? I have been shot at. I was never shot, but I have been shot at, right? The American sniper who actually went to war, he was shot at too, but he wasn't shot. So yes, I have been shot at. And yes, I have lost people to gun violence. I named my Uncle Romeo. I named my best friend, Orain Watkins, youngin'. He died at 16, right? He was only a few months older than me. As a matter of fact, he was 1 month older than me. His birthday would have been last month. Right? He would have been 34 last month. Right? So boom. I spoke to you about those two individuals, and I know other individuals, right, that have lost their life to gun violence, right? I've been around in situations where people were completely things that had nothing to do with me, right? And I'm a few feet away from situations that are happening. So you're not the only one who has experience in this regard, good sir. Right? This is America after all, isn't it? But to be fair, my Uncle Romeo and Lorraine Watkins, it wasn't America that those situations happened. But everything else that I'm naming, it was America. Right? I was in a situation where we lived, not too far from where I am right now, right? But someone got popped right in front of our window. Right in front of our window, somebody got popped, right? We live in the city. Someone got popped, boom, right in front of our window. My sisters were babies. I had twin sisters. We all had to get down on the floor, right? So I've been in situations. So I know what it is that I'm talking about, good sir, when I say it should be controlled, right? I know what it is that I'm talking about. So it's not something where, I don't have any qualms with you. I just think your perspective and the things that you're comparing weapons to cars, it's not going to cut it. It's not a good argument. Archie says it's not the guns, it's the mentality of the people. You're absolutely right. It's the mentality and the spiritual forces behind the people as well, right? But if those people are not balanced, you can't put weapons in their hands, right? So you're absolutely right in regards to, yes, those people that are not spiritually balanced, that are not mentally balanced, those people cannot put their hands on weapons, right? And I'm not talking about religion when I say spiritually balanced. Where do you live, Arturo? Don't ask anyone where they live on here, guys. Or if you're going to respond, do not be specific. Do not be specific as to where it is that you live, right? I don't want any of you guys doing any of that sort of stuff in the chat. Please, if you do that, I'm just going to kick you out of here because, yeah, that can be quite dangerous. So if you want to say, oh, I live in Baltimore, Maryland, fine, cool, right? But don't give any specifics. Please don't do that. I live in Texas. I'm not a huge gun nut, but I do agree that shit has gotten out of control with certain people. Have gotten their hands on guns way too easy. That's exactly what we're talking about, Ethan White. Ethan White, that is precisely what it is that we're talking about. And that's what we need to regulate. That's what we've been talking about. Thank you so much for understanding what it is that we're saying. We got mass stabbings in England, gangs running around with machetes. It's like medieval times. Yeah, I've heard about those things. The machete, they call them knife crime over there in England. Yeah. That's also stupid, to be honest with you. Yeah. That's also stupid. Father knows best says, dude, guns equalize everything. But the black market will still exist despite regulation, says Archie. So it is not, says Father knows best. Archie knows what's up. So if a small group of people use a tool the wrong way or in a bad manner, does that make the tool bad or wrong? Please answer. So he's saying if a small group of people use the tool in a bad, I'm not saying it's not a small group of people, right? But it happens around America, right across America, on a daily basis. Look at Chicago. Look at Memphis. Look at Detroit. Look at New Orleans, right? Look at Baltimore. Look at LA. It's not isolated instances, guys. These things happen every day. So when you say a small group of people, you make it look like, oh, it only happened twice a year. No. And even if it did only happen twice a year, we would still need to nip that in the bud. So you're saying it's a small group of people that are using this tool in the wrong way. But it's not. Is it a minority? Yes. Is it overwhelming? Absolutely. Because it doesn't take one person could have took that weapon that he had he been trained, and eliminated the entire class. One person could have took that weapon that he had and eliminated the entire class. Maybe even the entire grade. So, yeah, talk about your small group of people. Look at the impact that minority had. That small group of people have. So, yeah, if a small group of people are using it in the wrong way, does it make it bad? If a small group of people are able to take out a whole goddamn city, you're goddamn right it is. I don't know where we're going here. I think you want to find an angle, sir, and I'm no disrespect to you, right? You may be well intended, right? So I don't mean to be disrespectful to you, and this may be an intense conversation because people are actually getting clapped. People are actually getting bodied, right? So that's why we're having this discussion, and that's why we're being a little bit intense with this discussion, to be honest with you, good sir. So please do not take this personal. We're just having open dialogue. So I hope your feelings are not hurt, but it's going to be a little intense, right? So we can't sit up here and say, oh, it's just a minority of people. It's not a minority of people when they're doing mass shootings. It's not a minority of people when young kids are teenagers are putting switches on weapons and clapping everybody off the block. It's not a minority at that point. It becomes dangerous to everybody at that point, good sir. I think that's the disconnect. That's the part that we're not really there, right? We're not understanding that, right? That's the part that we're not really understanding. So let me tone it down and calm down a little bit, right? Even though this is something that's intense and it does require a little intense sort of conviction when communicating these things, I'm going to tone it down a little bit. But that's the disconnect. That's the part where we're not really, kind of meeting in the middle, if you will, right? Because if you could say it's a minority, but let's say 1 in every 50 people, right, is capable of doing this. Let's say 1 in every 100 people is capable of doing this. That one person only needs one weapon to wipe out the rest of that 100 people. You understand what it is that I'm saying now, good sir? That one person just needs one weapon to wipe out that entire 100 people. I hope that makes sense. So that's basically what it is that I'm trying to say, right? So yeah, you may be well intended. I don't mean any harm, right? We're men having this discussion, right? A bit fierce, a bit fearless. I appreciate the spiritual tango, but I disagree with you wholeheartedly, good sir. So yeah, the people that are using the weapon wrong, it needs to be regulated because that one person could take that one weapon and wipe out 100 people. Make sense? I hope that makes sense. All you were saying is that you want government to regulate guns. Okay. Regulations create barriers for law-abiding people, not criminals. They don't buy guns legally. Okay. But at least you have a gun to protect yourself rather than nothing at all. Guys, we said it. We established it a few times earlier in the conversation. So maybe some of you guys are just getting in, but some of you guys I do remember seeing. So we didn't say take away guns from law-abiding citizens, right? We're just saying it's too easily accessible for criminals to get their hands on these weapons. That's what we're saying, right? That's what we're saying. For people who don't have good intentions to get their hands on these weapons and use these weapons, right? So yes, it does start at a spiritual level, but it absolutely does need to be regulated as well, right? I think this country, we need to work on that. We do. I think if we got to if people need to be treated like kids, and take their weapons away for a little bit, that'll teach their ass. That'll teach them. That'll goddamn teach them. Right? Because if you're a kid and your parents are telling you, hey, listen, you're playing the video game too much or whatever it is, you're doing a little too much of this, and I need you to be doing something else that's more productive, that's going to help you more, right? And you decide, nah, fuck it. I'm going to do whatever it is I want to do. That parent's going to come and take your video game system away. Is it? Are they not? Right? Except this isn't a video game system. These are weapons that could cause a lot of destruction. Right? So now is this something where it's like, all right, cool. Well, since these things are happening, man, I think we're going to have to just start, and that's a bit extreme. I'm not going to lie to you. That is a bit extreme. That is a bit extreme. But guys, we got to stop. We got to stop doing these things. They just have to stop. You could always also get killed by someone who is supposed to protect you. Whoever you protect you whenever you are unarmed. So even trusted members of society with guns and training could act out of emotions. Yes, you're absolutely right about that. I'm not saying they can't, right? But it lessens the chance, right? If these people are proving that they're not impulsive and that they can control themselves, if they're proving that they can control themselves, you don't give them weapons. Again, we're going to refer back to Colt and his situation. What happened with him over there in Georgia. He was showing that he lacked self-control. He was showing that he didn't have emotional control. And what does his daddy do? His dad goes and gets him a big fat AR-15. Type rifle. Not even entirely sure if that's the gun that was given to him, but an assault rifle. He goes and gets him an assault rifle. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying regulating it. Does that now make a little bit more sense, guys? Does that make a little bit more sense now? That's what I mean when I say regulated, right? So his dad went, you know what? I think you guys get it. I think you guys are just kind of trolling a little bit. A little bit. No more regulations needed. More fathers in the home and less government programs. Man. All right. I do agree that there needs to be more fathers in the homes. I do agree with that. But not fathers like Colt's father, to be honest with you. I keep that gauge on me at all times, says Jeffrey Rivera. America needs mental health hospitals more than ever, says Alexander. I agree with you. Mental and spiritual health is definitely at an all-time low, guys. We definitely need help in that regard, this country. What do you know about Tibetan? Not entirely sure, Lob Sang Nima. I'm not entirely sure what it is that you mean about Tibetan, to be honest with you. Not much. Aman Kumar says, hello, brother. How you doing, Aman? There is a root cause in everyone, bruh. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. You're absolutely right. And we mentioned that before. I am like your channel, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, guys. Make sure you are subscribing as well. We did gain a decent amount of subscribers just now. We didn't gain that many likes, though. We probably got as much subscribers as we did likes tonight. And we had thousands of people in here tonight. Of that, I am sure, because the numbers were... Right, some of the highest that we've seen, because people know that this is an issue that needs to be discussed. People do have an opposing view in regards to what it is that we're talking about, but at least we're having a discussion for start. I don't want people to be extremists when it comes to this. And I understand precisely what it is that a lot of people are saying. So some of you that do have your weapons and won't do anything to hurt people, this isn't directed towards you, right? This is directed towards people that are out there doing what these mass shootings that have been happening far too frequently in the last few days, guys. These are the people that we're talking about that it needs to be regulated for. You know what I mean? The government can only control the guns that they produce and sell. They cannot control stuff from illicit trades. Can you speak to Hindi? I do not speak Hindi, but I can big up Hindi. I big up all of Hindi and big up to all of your nation, anybody that is does support that lifestyle. Big up to India, and big up to you, Aman Kumar. Yo, Gambo Knight. I don't even know what that means. What do you know about Tibetan? Tell me something about Tibetan. All right, guy. Listen, my brother. I don't know anything about Tibetan, brother. I do not. I'm sorry. Hello, bro. Comment my read. Big up yourself, Aman. Big up yourself. Sincerely do hope some of you guys are still subscribing as well to the channel. But yeah, guys. Yeah. Dance for me, Gambo. I think we're going to hang around for maybe around 10 minutes, right? We're just going to make this stream maybe like an even 2 hours. It's a good discussion to have. People do have opposing views about it. Everyone doesn't share the same perspective in regards to what they believe should be happening in regards to gun control. But there needs to be more control of these weapons. There needs to be more balance. There absolutely needs to be more balance. Yeah, period. I think we can't just keep putting these weapons into the hands of unhinged people, and of people who kind of lack clarity, right? People who lack clarity, people who do not have empathy, people who lack that self-control, right? Because it can be dangerous. It can be a dangerous tool in the hands of the wrong people. You know what I mean? So that's what it is that we're saying. We're not saying that the people with guns should not have guns. No one is saying that the people with guns should not have guns. We're just saying that people who do things like this, collectively, we have to decide that those people should not be able to own these weapons or to get their hands on these weapons for any amount of time. Because even if they have it for a few seconds, it can be an absolute catastrophe in the wrong hands, guys. That's what it is that we're saying. So I hope you guys do understand that. Every time someone dies something bad, people want to take people's right to defend themselves. Guy doesn't get it, so I'm not going to read any more of what it is that he said. Sorry for the tangent. I just don't think this is something that's making gun law stricter will change, because criminals will always find other ways. I hear what it is that you're saying. But we have to start somewhere, right? We absolutely have to start somewhere. Are you happy, brother? Big up yourself. Kumar, big up yourself. Someone says, you are criminal. You are criminal. Bro, this is my question equals mind control. Okay. They could definitely put more gunshot sensors. I believe they have them in Chicago. Basically, whenever a gun is discharged, there are sensors in high crime areas that detect them. Okay. Have you ever been afraid of something that doesn't exist, but still you remember it? Whenever a gun is not discharged, whenever a gunshot is discharged, it is a certain amount of decibels, and it can definitely get recorded. Okay, I hear you. How can you be connected of a crime and not be told what it is? Connected to a crime? They are discussing it in Congress now. How can you be connected to a crime or convicted? Maybe he's trying to say convicted of a crime and not be told what it is. They are discussing it in Congress right now. Yeah, people have rights. Yeah, we are going to say that, right? But when you are violating other people's rights, right, then what does that mean for your rights? Rick says that's a good comment, though. Okay. Blaney White says, why don't people understand that even though you can also you also can have a weapon, it makes every encounter potentially more deadly and provokes escalation? Yes, it does. You're absolutely right. Blaine White, you're absolutely right. Because it definitely does. Because now everybody knows that you have a weapon. Now they're more on edge, right? Now they are more on edge. And thank you for bringing up that brilliant point, right? I see exactly what it is that you're saying. Yeah, people will be more on edge now that you got a weapon, I got a weapon, right? He got a weapon, I got a weapon. I've seen situations like that happen, right? Where they may not have gotten to that point, but because two people have weapons, now they're busting at each other. You understand what I'm saying? So it does, you're absolutely right. It is potentially more deadly, right? Because now everybody has a weapon. So yes, it Thank you so much for bringing up that point. That is a brilliant point. That's a brilliant point, Blaine White. Thank you so much. I hope that you subscribe to this channel because yeah, it's mostly spiritual stuff that we discuss, and we are discussing the spiritual aspect of these things that are happening as well. However, that is a brilliant statement, and I look forward to seeing you again, Blaine White. I'm gonna remember that name. That is a brilliant point. Thank you so much. Unlocking paradoxes says, or make something in the guns that is actual GPS rather than just having a serial number to identify specific guns. You know something, unlocking paradoxes, I thought about that as well, right? I thought about that as well. But again, they're gonna have old guns that don't have those things, right? But yeah, I do see what it is that you're saying. You're able to know exactly where those guns are. Yeah. So yeah, I get what it is that you're saying. Sarah says, "Oh, it's mutual." Man, am I that far back on the comments? Jesus Christ. Sarah says, "Oh, it's mutual." Wow, guys. Wow. 243 votes. 58% say no. Unlocking says, or something that records whenever guns are fired in a database. Make the guns track more digitally or have more of a digital footprint. I hear what you're saying. Amnesty means good people keep guns, bad people keep illegal guns, bro, says James Sullivan. Okay. Taking away a person's right to defend themselves is the problem. No to gun control. This guy's not getting it. He's not getting it. He's not getting it. He's not getting it. It just amazes me, man. It just amazes. Is it the wording of it? Is it the way how it's worded? Is the control part of it? People just want chaos, right? People see control, they're like, "Oh my God, control! Oh my God, God forbid we have control! How dare he say control? How dare he put gun and control next to each other? Those two words don't belong next to one another." Is that really your thought process? Is that really what you're hearing? Because no one's saying take away people's guns or their rights to defend themselves. We're just saying make it more difficult for people who are unhinged to get their hands on these weapons. That's what we're saying. God forbid you control. God forbid you try to, we start having more control over our thoughts, over our minds, over our weapons. God forbid. Should it be gun chaos? Is that a better term? Right? Should that have been the question? Should we have more gun chaos? Is that a better question? Does that make more sense? Maybe it's the wording. Maybe I should take some responsibility by putting control next to gun. Right? I didn't come up with that term. I didn't coin that term. But maybe I should have put something else beside it. Maybe people would understand it a lot more. He says you must live in a big city. Well, Rick, you must live in the country, young man. You must live in the country. Yes, I live in a big city. Yes, Rick, you're right. Right? You're right. You're absolutely right. Avery, welcome, Avery. Someone says it didn't get out of control until the COVID shot. Yeah, man, I get it, man. That stuff did come with some side effects, pop off. I get it. I completely get it. I understand what it is that you're saying. and a form of GPS mandatory implemented into the firearms. Aisley Pookie says, "Hey, buddy, how you doing, Aisley? Been a minute. Been a minute. Brilliant to see you. Welcome, welcome." Amar Kumar says, "Come on, tell me." Well, tell you what, man? What are you talking about, my guy? What exactly are you talking about, good sir? I'm gonna try to get through the rest of these questions, see what it is that you guys are saying, and then we're gonna call it a stream. Live is but a stream. We didn't even get to put that in the title because we didn't have enough words. So let me go ahead and go through the rest of what it is that you guys are saying. Thank you guys for participating. The people that agree, the people that don't agree. It's a beautiful thing to have this discussion, even though I think, and it's going to be me just speaking from a third dimensional perspective. And I want to say this, but I don't want to say this, but I do want to say this. A lot of you guys acted like idiots tonight. And we're just going to say it that's one of the nicest ways I could really put it. I didn't want to say it, but I did. I just had to get it off my chest. And maybe and maybe some of it was my fault, right? I will take some responsibility for maybe I should not have put gun and control next to one another. And maybe you guys thought that I meant that they should come and take your weapons away. That's not what it is that I'm saying, guys. It's not what it is that I'm saying. I'm saying it's far too easy for people like the one that's shooting in Kentucky to have access to it. It's far too easy for people like young man Colt to get his hands on the weapons and go and turn it on children and people at school and traumatize too many people. That's what I'm saying. But people don't understand that for some reason. I love when you go live. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Avery. Thank you. So whenever you purchase it as a tracking trip, yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Like how cars do and have similar to how cars have governors on the engine and the electric kill switch. If you decide to run from police, modern vehicles can be shut off. Yeah. It should be way more difficult to get arms, says Blaine White. Regulation works, sanctions work if enforced properly. There are definitely 3D printed guns since around 2012. Yes. And ghost guns made in foreign countries that are imprinted. Or guns need to be way more trackable. Yes. Limited by what manufacturing units handed down by federal government is the question. By thus, thee that art thou thus. Like I said, if all guns had a data chip that has GPS that whenever removed voids the gun's legality, meaning for it to be used, it has to be digitally trackable. And you should have mandatory classes to have a gun. Some brilliant ideas. Yeah, guys, we're just at the drawing board right now, just having this discussion. I think it's a healthy discussion for all of us to chime in on and, just give our perspective on it. But we can't be so desensitized, right? As a culture, as a people, as a society, that we don't have empathy for those people that lost their lives this week and the people that were, just going to and from maybe work or maybe from, dance class or whatever it is that got shot at on the highway, or the young kid that lost his life in a bathroom yesterday, the day before now, because it's 1:35 a.m., right? So, we got to have a little bit. Surely you guys have it in your heart to have empathy. If you're buying illegal guns, you're a criminal. Most definitely, how do you make it stricter for buying a legal one? I'm assuming it's not that easy, says Tony Baloney. You should have training and full evaluation. Yes. Guns are to protect you from infringement of government. Never forget that. The main thing that we need to focus on having proper education and stronger family structure in the United States. Okay, Austin. I know that you have good intentions, but the gun nuts would never let that fly. You think? We already see the votes already, guys. For 58% is the amount of people that do not agree that we should have more control. Would never let that fly. They would be so opposed to guns being so traceable. The reason they love the Second Amendment. A mental health evaluation, says Tony Baloney. If guns had GPS tracking like cars and phones, less crime with legal guns would happen, in my opinion. Yes, 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 yes. You know what, guys? I thank you. I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna just, because it's so much. You guys have had so many decent points. Some decent points. Some points were just plain and simply. I don't know what other term to use. Some of them was just plain and simply stupid, to be honest with you. Um, but it's not personal. This is a discussion that needs to be had. We need to have an open discussion about these things. You know, I don't want to be proven right again, right? I don't want to be proven right again. I would much rather, you know, the stupidity stops, right? But if people need to be inspired to stop, then by all means, they need to be inspired to stop, right? Whatever that means. But yeah, I think we could do better as a society, guys. But anyway, you know what? I think we've been here for long enough. Big up yourself. Everyone that's just joining in, coming in. This is, guys, there's a lot more chat left, and I'm sorry that I didn't get to go through all of it, guys, but we've come to an end of the show. Tomorrow we're gonna have more content. You know, again, guys, I don't watch the news. I really don't. I don't, right? But things like this that are happening, you know, it just keeps popping up on my news feed ever since Wednesday because of what transpired over there in Georgia, and I was so, you know, I felt so bad for the kids and for the parents of the kids and for the family members of the kids and, you know, the teachers and everyone that just went through the situation. You know, but yeah, it just kept popping up, you know, and different things just kept popping up. And then today we find out, or yesterday we found out about this situation that happened on I-95 over there in Laurel County, Kentucky. I was about to say Connecticut. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, guys, you know, thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in. Rest in peace to anyone who's lost their lives recently to any of this gun violence, or at any time to any of this senseless gun violence. And you know, my only hope is that the country just gets better at controlling these things, right? My only hope is that it's safe for the kids, right? It needs to be safe for the kids. It needs to be safe for the children. It needs to be safe for people, right? But mainly the kids, right? They want to come up and experience life and be safe, and not to have to worry about some maniac with an AR or some sort of assault rifle doing something crazy, right? When they go out shoe shopping or going out to go have fun, right? Or going to dance class or going to school, right? So those are the things that we're talking about, guys. And the sooner we address these problems, the quicker we come up with a solution, the better the country will be for each and every one of us. The better the world will be for each and every one of us. The better the universe will be for each and every one of us, guys. So the quicker we rectify this problem, the better it will be for each and every one of us, guys. We don't need to be having these negative impulses where we're trying to screw people over, or we get mad and we feel like we got to eliminate. Have some self-control, right? Because anybody could get mad and yell or get mad and, right, throw something. But to get mad and go out and go pop someone or go pop people, especially people that didn't have anything to do with the reason why you're upset, we need to exercise a lot more better control of ourselves and control of our emotions, and also control of our weapons, right? So not saying that they should take away guns from people. That's not what I'm saying. protect yourself, protect your family. You have every right to do so, every single right. And I wholeheartedly stand behind and stand with the people that are protecting themselves and protecting their family. I stand behind you guys. But at the end of the day, the people that are doing this stuff, the innocent kids and innocent people, I cannot stand nowhere near you. And if anything, I'm standing on the complete opposite side of you guys. But we shouldn't be standing opposite because we are all one. Everything is just one thing expressing itself in different ways. But yeah, let's get back to balance, guys. Let's not forget who we are. We are one. One love to each and every single one of you. And I'll see you guys again later on today, right? I'll see you guys later on today. Take care. Be kind to yourself. Later.